All right, so everyone, welcome back to Kadol Kol Shira in partnership with Breslov.org, Yeshiva Torah Shimon. And
recording in progress.
Baruch Hashem, thank you, Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, it's Parshat Bo, and it's a very exciting parsha because this is the parsha that we have our Exodus, right? We actually leave Mitzrayim. It's unbelievable, and we've been there for 210 years, right? And we've been under so much bondage, and we experienced so much pain. We experienced so much cruelty, right? Cruelty. I mean, look what Pari did. He would kill the babies. Not only would he kill the babies, he would slaughter the babies and bathe in their blood. I mean, to really be so cruel, right? Unbelievable. But Hashem, He took care of him. He took care of Pari, right? Oh, Marty, how are you? Yeah. And let's see now. And so, last week's Parsha, right? Parsha Bo, we had 7 Makos. And in this week's Parsha, we have 3, right? Makes a total of 10. Same way Hashem had 10 utterances when he created the world, right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu had 10 Makos, again, to be Meshada. He wanted to show that there's no Teva in the world. It's only Hashem that runs everything. And Hashem really played with the Teva in order to make the miracles happen. But it's remarkable that it's really only at the 10th Makkah, with Makkah's Bechoros, that Paro actually says, go. Right? It's amazing. Right? It's really amazing that he endured really the destruction of his country. Right? He really endured the destruction of his country in order to be able to continue to keep us in servitude. Isn't that amazing? It's amazing, right? He literally watched his country be destroyed by each one of the Makkahs more and more, until Hashem said in this week's parasha there will be 3 Makkahs. Go to Paro and tell him about the 3 Makkahs. Right? We'll have the Arba, the Choshech, and the Makkahs Bechoros. Arba is the locust, right? So whatever was left in the fields, whatever vegetation that was still left in Mitzrayim, Hashem says, now Paro, it's going to all be taken care of. It'll disappear via the locust. Unbelievable, really unbelievable. And then again, Paro says, well, we're not letting you go. And then we have Makas Choshech, right? And for 3 days, right? Shlosh Simei Choshech, there were 3 days. There were 3 days of darkness. Not only was there darkness, there was a darkness where we know that they couldn't even move, right? Whatever position they were left in at the time when the Makkah set in, and that's how they were. If they were standing, they were standing. If they were sitting, they were sitting. If they were walking, they froze like that. However one it was. It's unbelievable to think about that. And really, at that time, they weren't able to eat. They wasn't able to do anything. So Medrash says that we actually were very nice to the Mitzrayim, and we fed them. They couldn't eat. 3 days. 3 days. Fascinating. We did not endure any darkness. Right. All right. A few interesting things in the parsha. A few very interesting things in the parsha. We know that the dogs didn't bark, right? And because that, Hashem says, anytime there's a nevela, you have a treifa, tashlichu lekalab, give it to the dog. Send it to the dog. And why? Because the dogs didn't bark. The dogs didn't bark. An interesting phenomenon, though. An interesting phenomenon where the donkeys, we have in the parsha, we have a few mitzvahs, right? We have the mitzvah of Kiddush HaChodesh, right? Kiddush HaChodesh, Rosh Chodesh. right? Nisan is the first month of the year, which is a very interesting phenomenon also. We'll talk about that in a moment. Why is Nisan the first month of the year if we know that the world was created in Tishrei? Right? Right? It's an interesting phenomenon. We'll talk about that. Mitzvah Hashem. But we have also in the parsha we have the mitzvah of Pidyon Haben, and we have the Petech Hamor as well. Petech Hamor. Interesting. Why you take an animal, take a donkey, right? A donkey is an unclean animal, right? It's not a kosher animal. The Torah says that if you have a firstborn donkey, you have to redeem the donkey if you want to be able to use that donkey, right? If you want to be able to use it. It goes so much so, I don't know if you know this, but even when we have Bechorim today, if you have a child that's a Bechor, that's the firstborn, that was born with a natural delivery, right? And for some reason, you can't do the Pidyon Haben. For some reason, whatever. You know that child, as the child grows up, if there was no Pidyon Haben, that child's not allowed to do anything for anybody. His father can't ask him to do anything because he's Kodesh. He's Hegdish. You understand? He's Hegdish, he's holy until he's redeemed. Fascinating idea, right? But why the donkey is called, you have this idea of the Petech Hamor, but the dog which changed its teva, right? The teva, the dog, is to bark. But he didn't bark. Because he didn't bark, the Torah gives him a beautiful, beautiful thing that the Torah calls out the dog. It's wonderful, right? Everyone has a dog, right? So you see the Torah says, it's wonderful. The dog is good, right? Because if you have anything treif, give it to the dog. Interesting. But why did the donkey become holy, where it becomes Petech Hamor and not a Petech Kelev? Rabbi Yehuda, you ever think of that?
Yeah.
Did you think of that? Did you have an answer for that?
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Amen.
Listen, I'll tell you what it was. You know, it says, the Medrash says, when we came out of Mitzrayim, we all had donkeys full of treasures. We had donkeys full of treasures. The donkeys helped us out. You know that? Not only the donkeys help us out, the donkeys actually we're taking care of Hashem's will, right? Because originally Hashem made a promise to Avraham Avinu that for 400 years you're going to be in Mitzrayim, right? 400 years you're going to be in Mitzrayim, but they're going to go out the Rechush Gadol. Now we know that the Rechush Gadol was the Torah, but Pashup Pshat is Rechush Gadol means you go out with wealth. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Klal Yisrael, you're going to have to go out with wealth. We didn't necessarily want the wealth. We didn't necessarily want it because, again, you know, when a person has wealth, there's different challenges that come with wealth, right? A lot of challenges come with wealth. Sometimes you can meet people that were nice people all their life, right? You know them for a while, and they fall into money. So sometimes they're very nice, and they'll give others money, and they'll be very nice. Other times, they become very nasty, right? They can become very nasty also because of the money. I have all the money, you don't have anything, right? People come like this. It's amazing what money can do to people, right? But here we see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told them to please take the gold, take the things from the Mitzrayim. So you go out the Rechush Gadol. So Hashem keeps His word with Avraham Avinu. Amazing. But the Chamor was the one that came and helped us to carry out the things. Because of that, the Torah says, now you're going to make the Petech Hamor. Unbelievable. So you see how wonderful it is when you help out the Jew. The donkeys were helping us out, right? So how great is it to help out another Yid? How great is it? You know, there was the Pia Zetzner Rebbe, and he said, the Gressa the Zach and the Welt is Satin Yenim HaToiva. The best thing you could do in the world is to do someone else a favor. Do another Jew a favor. Do a Jew a favor. That's the best thing you can do. That's the best thing. You believe that? That's the best thing you can do. Why? Because you're helping him out. You're helping out another Jew. You see that even a donkey, a treifa animal, the Torah goes through the thing to say there's such an idea of a petach hamor. Unreal. Mamish, mamish, mamish. All right, so that's the answer. Rabbi Yehuda, do you like that answer?
Yeah, didn't think of it.
Okay, so now so that's good. Baruch Hashem.
Good answer. Good answer.
You like it? Okay, very good. Very good. Shkoyach. Okay. So there's so many different things to talk about in the parsha. We mentioned a few of them, right? But there's so many things. Like this idea, the idea of kachatzois halayla. The Rebbeinu Shalom tells Moshe Rabbeinu to say bachatzois halayla. Tell Paroi bachatzois halayla. Tell him it'll be at midnight.
No.
But Moshe Rabbeinu changes it and he says kachatzois. It'll be around chatzos. So we know the answer. Everyone knows the answer. Why? Because even though there would have been the miracle that Hashem would have killed out every bechor, and he would have known who in everyone who was the bechor, but they would have said, my watch said that it was 11:59. So even though Hashem did that, he killed all the bechor, he didn't do it on time. You understand? He didn't do it on time. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu said, "We'll say kachatzais. It'll be around 12." For all of those, naysayers, the scoffers, so they won't be able to have anything to say. They won't have any way out to say that this is mamish the Yad Hashem, right? They want Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted mamish, and Moshe Rabbeinu wanted very much to protect HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So what does Moshe Rabbeinu say? He says kachatzois halayla. So look at Rav Nosson. That's such a beautiful idea. Kisoit chatzois layla gam Moshe lo yochel la'amad ola b'shleimus. This idea of the chatzois layla, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't really have it down pat. As great as Moshe Rabbeinu was, lo yochel la'amad ola b'shleimus. He didn't really have the idea of chatzois mamish b'sei k'may shamar b'sein azal. Mechdei Moshe lo yoda chatzois emas ba makach chatzois. Chazal say, because Moshe Rabbeinu himself could not define exactly when chatzois was, and because Chazal say because of that, he said kachatzois. Well, but look at this. David yoda sha'ama chatzois laila okim lo haydais la. David HaMelech says, David HaMelech says he does know Chatzos Laila. We know the Gemara tells us that David HaMelech had a harp. Remember the Gemara in Brooklyn, right? The David HaMelech had a harp, and David HaMelech had the harp sitting on his window. And every night at Chatzos, there was a northerly wind that came. You hear this? Amazing. There was a northerly wind that came, and the northerly wind blew the strings of the harp, and it made the harp play a tune. And that was David HaMelech's alarm clock. Is that amazing? David HaMelech had a harp as his alarm clock, in conjunction with the ruach tzafaynis, the northerly wind. Fascinating. But David HaMelech knew when Chatzos was. Hainu ki Moshe yada sheikahu ha'geula achroina shetia b'schus David v'hanilvim elav shehem hatzadikim v'shem ha'indim b'chatzos laila l'koinen al chuvim beis hamikdash. Moshe Rabbeinu understood that okay, I'm not making the final geula. He knew that. That was one of the reasons why Moshe Rabbeinu was protesting to take the shlichus altogether. He said, if I'm not going to be able to be the one to take them out for the final geula, why should I take the job? Remember that? Remember by the burning bush, Moshe Rabbeinu was complaining, was arguing with Hashem for a week. For a week he didn't want the job. Why? Because he saw he wasn't going to be the final one to take us out, but yet it would be David HaMelech. We know that David Malka Mashiach, right? We're mamish waiting for Mashiach to come any moment now. We're mamish in the ikvus of the Mashiach. We know in the time of Mashiach's times, because the Nevi'im told us, the Nevi'im said that in Eretz Yisrael is going to be built up, and people are going to be able to come to Eretz Yisrael to be an infrastructure and everything in Eretz Yisrael. We see it today. Mamish, we're living the Nevuah. We're mamish living the Nevuah, right? You go into Yerushalayim, Kodesh, right? And you see on the streets, elderly people, young people playing, kids playing on the streets. It's mamish beautiful. We're mamish living the words of the Nevi'im today. And can I tell you a secret? If someone would have said 100 years ago, would have told somebody 100 years ago that there's going to be a Medina, there's going to be a Jewish state, and in the Jewish state you'll be able to do whatever you want to do. You'll be able to live and have all the things that you need, and everything will be taken care of. Would anyone have ever believed that? Could anyone ever have believed such a thing? Bemis, right? Ernie, Shim, what do you think?
Right, you couldn't believe it, right?
It never would have been believed. Ernie, when you were a child, right? When you were a child, who would have believed it, right?
Right.
Right? Who would have believed it? No one. Even maybe let's say your father, Ernie, right? Maybe would your father have ever have imagined there's going to be a state that you? No, but mamish, we're living mamish the time that we're living the nevuah right now. We're mamish living the nevuah right now. It's unbelievable that we have such a schus. So okay, so David HaMelech, so Moshe Rabbeinu understood. Moshe Rabbeinu understood really well that he's not going to be the final. He's not going to be the one to bring the final gula, but yet it'll be David HaMelech. It'll be David HaMelech, and because of that, the Moshe Rabbeinu was a little bit procrastinating on taking on the shlichus, right? But
it would be David HaMelech specifically because he would predict when the Mashiach would come. I mean, how specifically it's a David HaMelech?
Yeah, Ben David.
Ben David HaMelech.
It'll be Ben David, yes. Yeah.
He predicts when the Mashiach would come. Is that?
Well, we sing the song David Melech Yisrael Chai V'Kayam, right? Okay, so we'll see. You know what, Ernie? We don't have much longer to see. So we'll know the answer soon, right? Okay. We'll see. We're gonna, we'll all meet and greet Mashiach Tzidkenu together, and we'll know who he is.
Okay. All right.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, Chaver, Mamish, we're almost there. Mamish, almost there. You got to hang in just a little longer. Shema Tzadikim, but look what he says now. So the Gula Achroin is going to come b'schus David HaMelech, and those that follow in the path of David HaMelech, the same way David HaMelech got up and he was Mekaynein, and he was crying over the condition of Eretz Yisrael. He was crying over this. He saw what the Churbanos were going to be. He saw, and he was Mekaynein. So to anyone that actually gets up and they say the Tikkun Chatzais, and they care about, and they feel the Churban of the base of this, and that's an amazing thing. All right, and then listen, and I just want you to know, you can say Tikkun Chatzais all the way up to Aloisa Shachar, which in New York now it's pretty late, right? What time is Nate's now in New York? What's it about? It's about 7:00, 7:10, something like that.
Yeah.
It's late. So you can in the morning, if you get up at 5:30 in the morning, right now in New York, get up at 5:30, you can say Tikkun Chatzos. How you like that? Unbelievable! You have the opportunities. What a beautiful opportunity. Hashem Yisbarach v'chol hatzadikim shebegan Eden tzaisin l'kalai ehu. They are listening to the call. They're listening to the call. They're listening to what we're saying. Sisu ita misois Kol HaMisabel Nalel will be joy and song for those that were misabel, those that cried and felt the pain of the lack of the Beis Hamikdash. Unbelievable. Kol HaMisabel Al Yerushalayim, right? Who's misabel al Yerushalayim, he'll be zeicha to see the rebuilding of Yerushalayim. Okay, aval lo yochol lamoid al davar mosa yia kates ki hu sasa miyoid. But we can never we can say today, we are allowed to say today that tzaddikim will say that we're beikvus of the Mashiach and we're in the end of time. And like I said to you, we see the fact that Jews are all coming back to Eretz Yisrael, and we see how Eretz Yisrael is being built up, and we have such beautiful highways. We have beautiful, everything is so beautiful, mamish in Eretz Yisrael. V'alkein gam begula harishoyna. Romas bidvaro shama kachat sois halayla ani yoitze. See, the same way we don't ask what's going on, when Mashiach is coming in, and we're gonna forecast. Oh, he's coming now. He's coming this and that. No, we don't forecast. We're not doing that. The same way we know that whatever happened when we went out of Mitzrayim is going to be the final Geula. The same way we went out of Mitzrayim, we learned out everything from Mitzias Mitzrayim, how the final Geula is going to be. And the same way we went out of Mitzrayim, but here's something nice to think about. When we went out of Mitzrayim, there were 600,000 men, right? Between the age of 20 and 60. 600,000 men. That's not including the younger children. That's not including the women, right? So this was a lot of people, right? If there were only 600,000 males that were between the age of 20 to 60, so any of the men that were over 60, or the men that were any of the children that were under 20, right? They weren't counted. So that means a tremendous. But everyone came together be'achtos, right? Everyone came together as one. Isn't that fascinating? We all came together as one. And we all went out together at Mitzrayim together. It's unbelievable. So we really need to see, we see that really the Achdus is so important. The unity, us having unity is so important. So many people believe, and I believe it myself also, the situation in Eretz Yisrael last year was such a terrible situation. It was really a terrible situation, when they were trying to do the judicial reform, right? Remember that? And there was such protests on each side, and in each one, and there was such a separation. It was terrible. I truly believe that's what brought on to have this terrible thing that happened on October 7th on Simchas Torah. I truly believe that. I truly believe in my heart that there was we were so apart. They were so apart. It was terrible. But now, Baruch Hashem, we have an Achdus. Baruch Hashem. It's unbelievable. It doesn't matter if they're a left or if you're a Haredi. It doesn't matter this or that. Everyone's together. Yachad and Atzeach, together we will be victorious. And that's what everyone's saying. And he realized that. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that mamish beautiful? That everyone's realizing we're only going to be successful if we have Achdus. Fascinating idea, right? Kachat tzeitzalad ki bechol devara b'shlichusay histakel ala keitz ha'achroid shebishvil zeh ma'ein b'shlichus betchila. See, Moshe Rabbeinu was looking at the final redemption. He was looking. He saw that he's not going to be the one to take us out. Hashem is going to go out in Mitzrayim. It'll be kachat tzais halayla. Ki kol ha'golius mechunim b'shem Mitzrayim. All the golas are all in the name. They're given the name of Mitzrayim. They're all part of this golas of Mitzrayim. It's the first golas. So the first time you learn about golas, first time you learn about something in the Torah, you could learn everything out of it, right? The first time you see a word in the Torah, you see a situation in the Torah, you could learn everything. So, kol hagoliyos mechunim b'shem Mitzrayim. Kimay Shem Rabbi Seinazal. Valkein Ama Kachatzos. Ki Aketza Achrein Sosa Miyoid. Rak David Shu Ba'atzmai Mashiach. Omer Chatzos Laila Oka. David HaMelech, he's Mashiach. Mashiach knows when Mashiach is going to come. He knows. David HaMelech knows. But that's why David HaMelech was able to say Chatzos. Chatzos Laila. He didn't say Kachatzos, like around Chatzos. He said Mamish Chatzos Oka. Valkein Ama Moshe Oz Koya Mar Hashem Ki Nevuah Zu Shel Bechinas Chatzos Meramed Al HaKetza Achrein. This nevuah of the Chatzos is Meramed Al HaKetza Achrein, is the final redemption that Chevra we're waiting for now. It's very distant from the time Moshe Rabbeinu was there. It's thousands of years later. Therefore he said in the Lashon of Ko, okay, it'll be like that. Unbelievable idea from Rav Nosson. But really the most important thing that we could learn from this is really to understand that we all have to have the Achdus. We need to have the Achdus. If we have the Achdus, we can accomplish anything. If we have the Achdus. It's all about us having the Achdus, right? Does everyone agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing when we have Achdus. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah. Okay. Now we have a beautiful mitzvah in the Torah. Chodesh hazeh lachem roish chadashim. Right. We know this mitzvah in the Torah. So we spoke about before. I mentioned the question if the world we know is created in Tishrei, right? Right. So if the world was created in Tishrei, right, like we say on Rosh Hashanah. Hayom harasei lam, hayom yamid b'mishpah, right? It's the world's birthday, right? So if the world was created in Tishrei, why does Hashem say that Nisan will be the Rosh Chadashim? It'll be the Rosh Chadashim, it'll be the first of the months, the head month. Why should that be? So there's many people, many beautiful understandings of this. The Ramban has a beautiful understanding on this. So I'll share one with you right now, just outside, to understand like this. You know, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we know, created the world, and He created everything in the world for the Jewish people. For us. He made everything for Klal Yisrael. And it was only when it came to Chodesh Nisan that we came out of Mitzrayim, that we became the people who we were supposed to become. So that means before that, we weren't who we were supposed to be. So it should be lachem. It's a Rosh Chodashim lachem. It's for you. It's for us. Hashem is telling us it's for us. Why is it for us? Because we became the people when the nation of the Jewish people in Chodesh Nisan with the exodus of Mitzrayim. When we went out of Mitzrayim, that was our redemption, and because that was our redemption, the world was set onto the right path. Because before that, we know that before the Jewish people, the world, Hashem was running the world before the Torah was given. The world was running on Chesed Chinam. Right? There was no merit. Hashem was just running the world. Right? He was running the world, but we weren't necessarily earning anything. Once the Torah was given, so of course then the Limud HaTorah and everything else changed the whole thing. So the world really became to the next level of where it was supposed to be. It graduated when in the month of Nisan, because that's when we came out of Mitzrayim. It's an unbelievable thing to understand, that really, because we came out of Mitzrayim at that time, even though the world was created in Tishrei, but the world was not. There was no perfection at that point. The perfection started when we became the Jewish people, and that was in the Chodesh of Nisan, and that's an understanding of why Chodesh Nisan is the first month, because it's for us, because we became the people we had to be at that time. So look, it says over here, and it's a beautiful understanding. The whole idea of Kiddush HaChodesh, we learned this before many years ago. We learned the idea, like really, why did Chazal institute that when the moon is so small, right? When the moon is so small and so hard to discern, so hard to sense if you saw the moon or not, make that the Rosh Chodesh, right? Why couldn't they make the Rosh Chodesh when the moon was big, right? Why couldn't they say, let's say on the 15th of the month, it'll be Rosh Chodesh, right? On the 15th of the month, the moon is the biggest, right? Right? We know the moon waxes and wanes, right? So the moon may be the biggest, so make Rosh Chodesh then. Everyone will know it's Rosh Chodesh. No. Make it when it's the smallest. Make it when it's the smallest. Let's see why now. Ki parshas HaChodesh, hainu Kiddush HaChodesh, hi mitzvah rishona, shenitztavnu ba Yisrael be'eis yitzias Mitzrayim. This idea of Rosh Chodesh was the first mitzvah we were given when we were going out of Mitzrayim. It's interesting, Hashem gives us this mitzvah in the middle of the Makkos, right? He gives us this mitzvah in the middle of the Makkos. Ki ikar geula shel yitzias Mitzrayim haya aidei bechina ve'evo alayich ve'erech mispeisesus b'damayich hainu sheyisrael haya milulachlim. We were soiled. We were sullied. Ki hayu b'chinas arboyim v'teisha shari tuma kayadua. We know, everyone knows this, you can ask any child this. We know that we came out of Mitzrayim. When we came out of Mitzrayim, why did we come out of Mitzrayim when we came out of Mitzrayim? Because we had Hashem Yisbarach sped up the Gula, because we were on the 49th level of Tumah. We were on the 49th level of Tumah. Because we were on the 49th level of Tumah, if we would have gone any lower, then we would not have been able to ever come out. We would have reached the point of no return, and we couldn't come out. Because we know, even the Malachim was saying, when it came to Kriyas Yamsuf, Halolu Avdei Avodah Zarah, Halolu Avdei Avodah Zarah. The Mitzrayim are Avdei Avodah Zarah, and then the Jewish people are Avdei Avodah Zarah. So what's the difference? Why are you saving them and you're going to drown them? That's what the Malachim was saying, right? And it's another interesting thing. It's another very interesting thing. You know that the Mitzrayim held the seh, right? The little lamb, the lamb, like we have I think they call it the Paschal lamb, right? The Pesach, the carbon Pesach, right? They held that as it was one of their idols. They idolized the lamb. We know that we also were serving the Avodah Zarah, right? We also were serving the Avodah Zarah. That means we also felt that the lamb was some kind of a god, right? Because we were involved in the same thing as they were involved in. Oy bazoi, if that's the case, so that means, look what we did. We were Ma'aseh Nefesh. We had to be Mashach. We had to draw. We had to draw the carbon Pesach. We had to draw it. Why? What does it mean we have to be much? We have to draw it. We have to draw the Avodah Zarah out of us. That's why Hashem said, take the lamb and make it into a carbon. Slaughter it. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to get the Avodah Zarah out of us. Right? The Avodah Zarah was stuck. We were stuck in the Avodah Zarah. Hashem wanted to get us out of that Avodah Zarah. He wanted to get us out. Because he wanted to get us out, he said, take the carbon Pesach. But the first mitzvah was still the mitzvah of Achodesh Hazer Lachem Rosh Chodashim. Ki oyu b'chinas abedei. Okay, Shatama. Hashem Yisbarach richam aleim u'motza be'em nekudas toivos afilu b'toikev tumas Mitzrayim shetisgavro aleim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu found good points in us. He found good points in us in order to be able to redeem us. You see, HaKadosh Baruch Hu always wants to find good in Klal Yisrael, and Hashem found good points in us. We know the things. You remember what they were? right? We didn't change our names. We didn't change our clothing. We didn't change our language, right? Right? Remember that?
Right.
זה בחינס נקודס טייבה שמצא בהם השם יזברך אפילו במצרים. ועל ידי זה ניגאלו. We were able to come out. We were able to be redeemed. וזהו ואמר לך בדמייך חיי בדמייך. אפילו בתיכך הדמים והלכלוכים. אף על פי כן, even though we were so sullied and we were so soiled. אף על פי כן חי. We were alive. כי גם שם you can still find good points. You can still find, right over here, you can still find good points. Hashem is always looking for the good points. That's how we got out. We have to find good points in ourselves. We have to find good points in our friends, in our family, in everybody. Find good points in them. Bring out the good points. That's the trick to our geula, because that'll bring us to more achdus. And therefore, the first mitzvah that we were commanded on was as a nation, we was chodesh. Like we said, that's when you be mekadesh the chodesh. The moon is so small; it's such a sliver. It's such a sliver. Levad. When Klal Yisrael is on a low level. That's the idea when the moon is small. That's the idea when we're not being the best boys and girls, right? We're not doing what we're supposed to do. That's like when the moon is very, very small. We're small. From that, when we feel so small, that's where all the blemishes come from. That's where all the sin comes from. But when a Jew can work on awakening himself and finding something good inside of us, well, the Yetzer is very good. He tries to tell us how bad we are all the time, right? Now the Rebbe is coming and telling you, no, find something good about yourself. Find something good about yourself. You have good points. Find them. When Ish Yisrael misoirer, he awakens himself. Through that he can come back and he can make tshuva. If a person sees he's good, see, so long as a person thinks he's bad, so if I'm bad, I do bad things. But if I'm good, good people do good things, right? So long as a person thinks he's bad and everything I do is bad, so of course he's bad. Bad people do bad things. But if I can change that, and I can say, you know what, I'm good, and I find a good point in me, and I work on that good point. So if I'm good, and I believe I'm good, so that means I'll do more good. You follow the psychology here? It's unbelievable psychology. The person can come and do tshuva. That's what it means. The moon will become fulfilled from the pagam. Bechinas kiddush hachodesh. We're mekadesh the chodesh. We're mekadesh it. We make it holy when it's very small. Ki betchilas hachodesh beish royin es levan lekadesh oisa bebezdin. Azai kitana v'daka me'oid me'oid. At that point, when the Eidim would come to Bezdin, the moon was very, very, very thin, very, very small. It may have been only a little point. That good little point. When the Levana is in the Tachlis, it's small. When the Levana feels like it's so small, right? At that point, watch this. At that point, when the moon feels he's so small, that becomes a chodesh. As I trichin kol Yisrael lechapsa ulevaksha ad shemaitzian eidei re'iyah eze nekuda ketana me'levana as I mekachnes hachodesh bebezdin shehi bechinas tikin milei alevana. We know it was a very, very difficult thing, right? Bezdin would interrogate. I think that's a good word to use, to interrogate the witnesses not that they were false witnesses, chas v'shalom. No, to make sure they saw what they saw. Bezdin wanted to see if they saw what they saw. And through that, a person can become to the side to be meritorious. You hear this? If you take something good, you find something good in you. Right? It could be something like this. You get up in the morning and you you go to daven. You get up in the morning, you wash your hands. Get up in the morning, you say your brachas nicely. Oh, Baruch Hashem. You get up in the morning, you go to shul. You put on your talis and tefillin, you answer Amen Yeheshmei Rabbah. Unbelievable. Look what you're accomplishing. It's amazing things. You're doing gewaldige things. You put on talis and tefillin, you have any idea? We have no idea what we're accomplishing when we put on our talis and tefillin. We have no idea. We have no idea. But this is the same way when a person can do that. And he attaches himself to the good things that he's doing. He attaches himself to those good things, so then he starts to do good. He can go out of that mess. He can get out of the mess that he feels he's in. Anyone can do this. That's the idea that the moon can be fixed from its pigam, from its being small. Remember where the moon got small? Remember what happened? The moon said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it can't be Shnei Malachim Mishtamshim B'Keser Echad, right? You can't have two kings that are gonna wear one crown. Two kings can't wear one crown, right? So what does Hashem say? Lech Mimate, go and make yourself smaller. Remember that? Hashem told the moon, go make yourself smaller. But really, what did the moon do wrong? He asked the question. The moon asked the question. He didn't necessarily, but the question was, the thing that we learned was that really the moon didn't understand that Hashem made the world. And Hashem made everything exactly the way it was supposed to be. Hashem makes everything exactly the way it's supposed to be. And if Hashem saw fit for the moon to be as big as it was, then that's the way the moon was supposed to be. And the moon wasn't supposed to ask that question. Because if Hashem made the world that way, that's the way the world was supposed to be. And they shouldn't be asking that question. You can be Mekadesh the Chodesh. If you can judge favorably. Judge yourself favorably. Judge others favorably. This is going to be the final. This is how we got out of Mitzrayim and the Geula Achroina. This is what we're trying to get to, Chevra. We're trying to get to that final Geula, to get out of the mess. Bechinas Kibetz Nitche Yisrael. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have the ingathering of Klal Yisrael, the ingathering of Klal Yisrael, to come back to Eretz Yisrael all together. Could you believe that? Could you believe that day we'll all be able to be in Eretz Yisrael together, all together as one with the Beis Hamikdash, the Bayis Shlishi on Har HaBayis, instead of that stupid building that's standing there, right? Could you imagine that the Beis Hamikdash is going to stand on Har HaBayis, the Beis Hamikdash. It's so nice to talk about it, right? We'll see the grandeur of the Beis Hamikdash. It's going to come down from Shemayim. The Chazal tell us. Unbelievable. We're waiting for that. But how do we get to that? So we learned two ideas, right? We need Achdus, right? We need Achdus. We need unity. If we have unity, and what's the best way to have unity? Judge yourself favorably and judge others favorably. If you can judge others favorably, you can have unity. But so long as you're going to look at the other one and say, hey, he's doing this wrong, and he's wrong, this is wrong, and that's wrong, and this is wrong, and that's wrong, so then how you can ever have unity? But if you could learn to judge everybody favorably, and of course judge yourself favorably, this is based on lesson 282 in Likutei Moharan, right? This is the most beautiful lesson, the Rebbe's most beautiful lesson, one of the most beautiful lessons in Likutei Moharan. Unbelievable lesson 282 teaches us this idea that a person has to, it's the Torah, it's called Azamra, right? Azamra Lekai Be'oidi, right? I'll cry. I'll sing out to you, Hashem, no matter how I am. I'll always sing out to you, Hashem. And this is what we need to do. We need to have achdus. We need to, and the achdus will bring us to have the will bring us to have will bring us to have to don everyone in ourselves the kav schus, and through that we'll be able to get to the final geula. So let's look at one more thing. Does anyone have any questions or comments on this?
No.
We have any questions? No questions?
No.
This is an open forum. You are allowed to ask questions.
I mean, it's the three things were change their name, change their clothing, and what was the third thing?
They didn't change their language.
Change their language, right? That's it. Right, got it, right. Okay.
They didn't change the language.
They didn't change the language, right? Okay.
You see that? Yeah. No, you asked a good question. You asked a very, very good question.
Right. Okay, that was the third thing, right?
Yeah. So we could talk a little. I don't know if we could learn it inside, but we could definitely talk a little bit outside. One other thing that happened was we know that when we went on a Mitzrayim, the Erev Rav came out with us. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Who were the Erev Rav? Does anyone know who the Erev Rav were? Does anyone know who the Erev Rav was? What?
The neighboring countries.
No, they were actually Mitzrayim. Weren't they Mitzrayim?
Could be a mixture.
Yeah, there was a mixture. They were Goyim, and they came out of Mitzrayim with us. They came out of Mitzrayim with us. But it's a fascinating thing if you wanted to talk about it for a minute. That really, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, don't take out the Erev Rav. Don't take them. Moshe Rabbeinu said, I want to take them out. Hashem said, are you sure? And Moshe Rabbeinu said, yes. Wow. But we know that the Erev Rav were really responsible for the golden calf. The Erev Rav was responsible for the breaking of the luchas, right? That was the Erev Rav. So really, what happened? What happened, and what was Moshe trying to accomplish by bringing these guys out with him, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, we know for certain, was able to see things that the average person wasn't able to see. Right? We know in 2 weeks ago in the Parsha, in Shemais, there was a Mitzri that was hitting a Jew, right? Right? And Moshe Rabbeinu looked at the Mitzri, and he told him that he's a Rasha, right? And he killed him, saying a shame of Hashem. Tav Chav, hey, whatever, he uses one of the shames of Hashem, okay. But he looked ahead and he saw there was be nothing good coming from them, from this person. Rashi says that. Right, he looked both ways, he looked both ways, and he saw that nothing's coming from in the past and nothing in the future is coming from this Mitzri. He got rid of him. So obviously Moshe Rabbeinu saw something with these Erev Rav. He saw something with them because he was able to see. But there's such a thing that we can't be doichik et hashah, right? We can't push the envelope. You can't push the time quicker than it's supposed to come. You can't be doichik et hashah. Moshe Rabbeinu was certainly thinking the right way. And really, at the end of time, we see that there are so many Gerei Tzedek in Klal Yisrael. I'm sure every one of us knows a Ger Tzedek, right? I'm sure everyone else knows a Ger Tzedek, right? And knows the story of the Ger Tzedek, right? We know that. They come back, but they come back slowly. Moshe Rabbeinu thought that he can speed it and he can hasten things up. He can bring this about much quicker. And therefore he said, I'll take the Erev Rav out. But really, the Erev Rav was really Moshe Rabbeinu's the downfall, right? That was Moshe Rabbeinu's downfall because, again, we came to Kabbalah Satira. And right after Kabbalah Satira, Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shemayim. We know the story, right? We all know the story. And Moshe Rabbeinu was up there for 40 days. And then they said, They say the Erev Rav says to Moshe Rabbeinu, "Ki boishesh Moshe." Moshe was procrastinating. They didn't know what was going to be with him. They didn't know what's going to be with what's going to be with Moshe. He's not coming back down. He's not coming back down. That's what they said. They put suffix into us, right? Suffix, right? The Yetzer Hara likes to put suffix into our minds. Suffix. He doesn't like us to have shlemus, sholem, right? What's the opposite of suffix? Is sholem, right? If I have shlemus in my mind, completeness, I have shlemus. If I have clarity in my mind, so then I can be doing the right thing. But so long as they have suffix in my mind, I don't know, should I do this? Should I do that? Did I do this mitzvah right? Did I not do it right? Do I do this or I don't do that? I don't know. We have all this bilbul in our minds, right? You ever feel that way? You have like confusion in your mind? That confusion is coming from the Yetzer Hara. Mamish, we learned it's the metzach hanochash. It's the method that the Yetzer Hara likes to put into us where we have suffix. That's what they did. That's what the Erev Rav did. They put a suffix into our minds. Where's Moshe Rabbeinu? Is he coming back or he's not? We didn't know. We were mesupin, right? We didn't know. Is he coming back or not coming back? We didn't know. We didn't know. So the main thing we have to do is we have to work on in our lives is always to have clarity. To ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give us clarity. If we have clarity, then we can always do the right thing. Because then if we have clarity, we can judge everyone correctly. We can judge ourselves correctly. We can look at situations and size them up correctly if we have clarity in our lives, right? If we have clarity, right? The problem is today is we listen too much to the news and more the news, and you read the newspapers and you do all of that. So what's that doing? That's causing suffix in our minds, right? That's causing suffix. Suffix is the opposite of shlemus, right? We have to work on shlemus. We have to work on sholem and not to have suffix. You understand that concept? Yeah. Right? To take out this suffix, the doubt. What suffix is doubt? I have a doubt. Should I do this? Should I do that? Should I do it this way? Take away the doubt and know what you're doing is right. Believe in yourself. Believe in what I'm doing is right. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is guiding me. We ask Hashem to guide us. Believe what I'm doing is right. I come to learn. I come to daven. I come to do my mitzvahs. I come to do my chesed. And whatever I'm doing I'm doing it the right way. Believe that. Don't listen to the Yetzer Hara. The Yetzer Hara wants to tell us that we have suffix. Yeah, maybe this, maybe that, all of that stuff. Tell the Yetzer Hara to take his sfeikus and he go jump in the lake with his sfeikus. I want to have clarity. I want to have yishuv hadas. Yishuv hadas, clarity. And that's the opposite is what the Yetzer Hara is trying to do, which is the opposite of what the Erev Rav was trying to do. Right? That's what they did to us. They put suffix into our minds. They put suffix. You understand? Mm-hmm. So again, Moshe Rabbeinu was thinking correctly with the Erev Rav. But the problem was he tried to do it prematurely. They weren't ready to come out yet. Hashem didn't say that Moshe Rabbeinu was wrong. He said, no, you're on the right track, but they're not ready to go out yet. They're not ready to go out yet. And because he took the Erev Rav out, we kind of find ourselves in the situation we find ourselves in today, right? Because all the time, the Yetzer Hara works with us and tries to put the suffix in our minds. So what the tikkun is to have clarity. If we can work on having clarity and to know I do what I do and I'm doing what I'm doing because I have the right intentions and to have the right rotzen. That's all about what Hashem wants us to have rotzen. He wants us to have the rotzen, to follow the rotzen. We should have a rotzen and we want to do the rotzen Hashem. Like we say in our tefillah all the time. V'rotzen Shabbos kochecha. Right? Shabbos is the time of rotzen. Right? Shabbos by Mincha is the time of Ravad. The Ravad is the time of rotzen. The rotzen. That's the highest time. Right? That's the highest time. But Shabbos we have more clarity. Right? Why do we have more clarity? Because Shabbos is rotzen. And to prove why do you have more clarity? Because on Shabbos you're not reading all the you're not listening to the news. You're not listening to all of the nonsense in the world. So you have more clarity. You have more yeshiva das. Is that amazing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Try not to listen so much to the news. Try rather to learn the Blat Gemara. Learn on the daf. Take the daf yomi. Take halacha yomi. Take out and learn the parsha. Learn whatever you want to do. Take out your tehillim and say tehillim. Who needs to waste our time on the news? Who needs to waste our time? It's mamish a waste of time. Mamish a waste of time. What we have to do is to stay focused and understand that the Eitzar is trying to bring into our lives sfekas, suffix. And I don't want to take his suffix anymore. I want clarity. And to know that David HaMelech is going to come and David HaMelech is going to bring clarity. You know, I want to tell you something. Yesterday I was talking to my Rebbe, Rabbi Chaim Kramer. He moved, Baruch Hashem, he moved to Beitar. He moved from Yerushalayim, he moved to Beitar. It's a long story, why, whatever, but okay. So he was saying that many years ago, there was a discussion going on. He lived in Ezra's Torah in Yerushalayim. Do you know where Ezra's Torah is?
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. Okay. So he lived over there. He lived there for many years. So he said it was about 35 years ago. He was in the Beis Medrash, in the Breslov Beis Medrash. And they were discussing a television, right? They were discussing television. Television's no good. Television. So Rabbi Kramer said, he said to them, Chevra, listen, I'm going to tell you that I don't agree with you. Television is good. So they said, what? What do you mean television is good? So he said, I'll tell you why. You know, everything Hashem makes, he makes it for good, he makes it in his bad. You can use it for good, right? Right? We all have computers, right? Most of the world is using their computer. We're all learning on a computer now, right? Most of the world is writing hate emails and hate things and they're using it for bad, right? They're figuring out the next, they're planning the next protests and all of that. We're using it to learn Torah. Isn't that amazing? Right? We're using it for the right thing, right? So what he said was like this. He said, you know, Mashiach is going to come. Mashiach is going to teach about Hashem to the world. How would Mashiach get his message across to all the four corners of the earth? How can he do it? With a television. Everybody has a television in their house. Mashiach, all the other stupid channels will get canceled. You'll have the Mashiach channel. He'll teach the world Torah. He'll teach the world to bring the world closer to Hashem. That's what Mashiach's job is, and that's what he's going to do. And that's what my Rebbe told him 35 years ago. TV could be used for something good also. What can it be used for? It can be brought to bring HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the world. So I want to wish us all, we should have mamish a beautiful rest of your week, right? You should have a beautiful Lechtig Shabbos. And it should be mamish a beautiful Shabbos with tranquility, and not worry about what's going on out there. You just we worry about this and take all the suffix out of our minds. Next week on Wednesday, I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be traveling to New York, so I don't think we're going to be able to meet because I don't think I can do this on the airplane. All right. So Amir Hashem we'll meet the next week. Okay. Well, in 2 weeks. Okay. Amir Hashem will be Parshas Yisro. That'll be Parshas Yisro. Okay. So the next time we'll meet, next week is Parshas B'Shalach, and then we have Yisro. Okay. So Amir Hashem will meet again Parshas Yisro, and we should all remember that it's the weeks of Shovavim, and these are the weeks that we can come back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu easily. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to come back. So let's take the advantage of these beautiful weeks of Shovavim. Not too many left, but let's take advantage of them. Take advantage of all the time. Get closer to Hashem. And everyone, thank you so much for joining. I thank everybody for joining. And Kol Tuv.
That's correct. Kol Tuv.
Hayesh Koyach to everyone.